Greetings everyone, today I'll be reacting to a band that I've only reacted to once before, the band Avatar, and the song Stranger, requested by my girlfriend Rachel, who has been very patiently waiting for this one. So Avatar is a band that she really likes, and I'm actually going to see them with her at a show in May. But they're one of those bands where I don't know how much I like them just yet. I'm very much in the unsure category about their music, but I will be honest and go into this with an open mind and see if I end up appreciating what these guys have to offer. Before I do, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on socials and Patreon, both linked in the description below. If you join Tier 4 in my Patreon, you can make a song request and push it to the head of the line, guaranteeing a reaction to it right away. So if you want that VIP access, that's how you get it. Alright, Avatar, Stranger, let's check this out. A little bit darker, more sorrowful than I was expecting. I like the synth so far. Yeah, very somber. Okay, so some initial thoughts. For some reason, I guess that I had it in my head that Avatar was like a very upbeat sounding band. And I've heard like snippets of their like new stuff, but I actually haven't like sat down and heard like a full song other than the one that I reacted to. So maybe some of their stuff is more upbeat and maybe some other stuff just takes a different turn. You know, a lot of bands go through different styles and make sure that there's a lot of variation in energy and sound and mood when it comes to a particular album. So maybe Avatar is one of those bands. But so far, this feels, again, very somber, and there's also a little bit of a folky element to it as well. Interesting combination, and again, not what I was expecting. So it already has the intriguing box fully checked. The vocals, of course, have not kicked in yet, so we'll see where it goes from here. I feel like this is just the intro, so let's continue. Yeah, there we go. I like it so far. Not the vocals I was expecting, but I like it. Okay, this is very cool so far. It has a very anthemic quality to it, and I really like his harshes. Now, I believe he uses a different vocal approach on the modern material, and I'm getting the feeling that this song is from their older albums. In fact, I think that Rachel told me that. It's just went on the Infinite list so long ago that I've probably forgotten a lot of what she told me about it when she made the request. But if I remember correctly, she told me that their older material was more like the traditional death metal adjacent kind of sound, and he used more typical harsh vocals, and then they really developed their own signature style and became their own thing later on. Of course, Avatar fans can let me know in the comments if that's true, fill in some detail and some background info. So maybe this is not the best example of their like modern or current sound. Let me know either way. But regardless, I'm really liking the vocal approach. I like the anthemic kind of quality that it has, and it's anthemic without being upbeat, you know, which is something that I said before, that I had an expectation that it might sound upbeat, this music, but that's not the case at all. It sounds just very, there's this sort of galloping rhythm to the guitar work so far, and it was a nice transition from the intro. They changed up the energy and mood of it a little bit when the guitar and drumming kicked in, but without losing some of the qualities that the introductory part of the music offered, if that makes sense. So I really like where it's going so far. I don't know that I'm loving this quite yet, but I'm definitely enjoying it. So let's keep going. fact that the guitar complements the vocals, it's almost like a response to the vocal parts. It's cool. Okay, so what's cool here is that he's using two different vocal styles. On one hand, he's using more of a strained, shrieky, kind of throaty style of Harshes, and then on the other hand, he's using a slightly deeper and more growl-adjacent kind of sound. And he's kind of going back and forth very fluidly and very seamlessly between those two approaches. So that tells me two things: that he has range and he has good voice control. So both things are quite impressive. Yeah, man, I don't know. I feel like I like this over like what is probably their new sound, because like the last Avatar song that I reacted to, I remember thinking that it was decent, but I wasn't feeling like I was gravitating toward it that much. This I'm actually enjoying and finding myself getting into. But my Avatar journey is just beginning, of course, and this will not be the last reaction that I do to them by any means. I have another item on the list by these guys to check out, and of course I will be taking requests in the comments or on Patreon. But for now, let's jump back in. I like those cymbal hits in the background. That's a nice touch. Very hooky, headbangable guitar. Hey, I'm liking this. I have to say something about like the way his vocals are being delivered. Like on top of like what I respect about how he's pulling off the Harshes, there's also some kind of quality to his delivery method that I can't quite put my finger on that makes it feel like he's telling a story to you as he's doing these screams. Like I don't know, it just feels like the cadence with which he's delivering this, it feels like a storytelling kind of cadence, if that makes any sense at all. Like, it feels like he's narrating just an interesting story that's, like, engaging with you as the music goes on. Again, I don't know if that makes sense. If you can clarify what I'm saying or what you think that I'm saying in any way, let me know in the comments. But I like that quality. And again, I want to repeat that the guitar, in many ways, is kind of feeling like a response to certain vocal parts. Like, he'll do a vocal part, and then you'll hear, like, the riff, like, da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's kind of cool the way that it feels complementary. It feels like they're on equal footing with one another, the vocals and the guitar work. And what the guitar is doing is deceptively varied and creative here. Because if you just listen to this without really paying full attention, I feel like there's an illusion, possibly, that there is very repetitive guitar work happening here. And certainly there is a certain refrain that is, you know, happening over and over again when certain vocal parts are delivered. But then in between those parts, the guitar is actually expanding and doing different things. And I think that's really cool. Subtlety is always a great thing to have in music, and I think that this song has it. So again, as much as I'm appreciating this song, I can't say that I love it just yet. I can say that it's a good song, it's a hooky song, and I'm engaged and appreciating it. So, let's continue. Very sparing use of synth also, but when it's used, it works, I think. Such headbangable guitar. Interesting touch there at the end with the heartbeat. Not sure what that's about, but it probably plays into whatever story these lyrics are telling, which we'll get to in a couple minutes. Before that, I just want to comment on the music as usual. First, I'll get my criticism out of the way, and this criticism comes down just to personal taste, so keep that in mind. This probably is not the type of death metal song, and I don't even know if this is purely death metal. Like, there's interplay of some other influences here, clearly, as well. So I feel like Avatar is one of those bands who are just their own thing. They're kind of their own genre. So I'll give them that, and I won't put that label on them. But when it comes to, I hate this term, but we'll use it anyway, extreme metal in this kind of style, with these kinds of harshes and everything, I don't necessarily gravitate toward songs that feel like galloping and anthemic in the way that this one did. I can appreciate the hell out of it and think it was really well pulled off. But regardless, that's not really my speed or my style on a regular basis. There's exceptions, and if I was in a certain mood, I could find myself perhaps listening to this. But when it comes to, like, especially to death metal, and related genres, and, you know, subgenres or whatever, I either tend to like pure savagery, like breakneck speed and just pure chaotic, wrathful energy, or else I like very darkly emotional melody, on the other hand, on the other end of the spectrum. And this was something sort of in between, right? Like, you had the somber, dark, emotional intro, which was, again, well done. And then you had the more fast-paced, high-speed, you know, fast-tempo, fill you with a little more energy main part of the song. And that was, like, the main thrust of what really made the song work, I think. But it just did it in a way that is not really heavy and brutal in the way that I tend to like from this kind of music. So I hope that I'm elucidating my feelings on that, you know, in a satisfactory kind of way. And again, I'm not saying that I dislike the song by any means, because I absolutely don't. In fact, I think that this song was fun. I think the energy on it is contagious, and I can appreciate how it was pulled off, and the talent behind this band, and the vocal diversity, and the guitar work, how it shined, and how it was so subtly effective and engaging. So there are tons of qualitative things to point out about the song and why it's a well-done song. And I stand behind all those points that I brought up during the reaction. But when it comes to like what suits my personal taste, I wouldn't necessarily put this song too high up in that zone of what I feel is something that I gravitate toward. This is something that I could find myself perhaps listening to once in a while. And if I did, and if I was in the right mood for it, I would appreciate it. Same way I appreciated it right now. So that's pretty much what I can say about how I personally feel about the music. And from an objective standpoint, again, a lot of talent was on display here. And these guys did a good job at showcasing their range within an under 6-minute long song. And the guitar, I think, was almost the number one thing about this song. Except that, again, the vocals felt very much on equal footing, on par with the guitar. And they felt like they were matching one another, and each of them felt like they were vying for the spotlight without taking anything away from the other. And I thought that was cool. It was sort of like a dance in a way. Like, the vocals, then the guitar, then the vocals, then the guitar. Like, there was always like this complementary riff that would follow a particular vocal part. And then, like, when he did some of his more elongated screams, the song gave that time to, like, really breathe and to shine through. And at the same time, when the guitar work wanted to go off and do more of its own thing, a little bit of a soloing kind of thing happening, there was room for that as well. So nothing drowned out or downplayed anything else in the song. Everything was very well, evenly matched and well put together. So structurally, I think that this was a smartly done song and a well done song, and something that appealed to me, I will say, much more than the last song that I reacted to. So again, maybe I really will just like their older material more, but I'm not going to just assume that just yet. I do want to react to more. If they have a lot of other newer stuff that you want me to check out, leave it in the comments or go to Patreon if you want to see it right away on the channel. But yeah, it was good. It was solid. It was impressive in several different ways, and it showcased the range and talent of the band, and I definitely can respect that about it. I didn't love it, but I liked it a lot. So that's how I feel about the music. Now let's get to the lyrics. Fly out of your cage, leave 18 years of pain behind, and feel the wind under your wings. Victim of life, you're free now. Breathe the clean air, sweet smell of death. Sundown is here, another one rises. Pain, sweet pain, you're too much for me. Pain, sweet pain, you'll set me free. Nothing is to stay. You wander on. You couldn't wait. Please wait for me. I ask the stars, where have you gone? What's in the next world? Will we ever meet again? Like a bird flying to the moon, you never reached it. Your hunger was your doom. Doomed to live or forced to die. In this cage you were entrapped. What did you see when your dreams held your wake? What did you say to the ghosts in your head? You drowned in your own blood and tears. Once you have jumped, there is no way back. All these illusions trying to make it right, but it feels wrong, wrong to say goodbye. My beloved stranger, nobody knew what happened. I hope you can tell me later. I don't mourn your death, I just don't know why. You were always close, but still so far away. I ask the stars, where have you gone? What's in the next world? Will we ever meet again? Again. I'm thinking. Okay, so I have two theories, I think, as to what this song is dealing with. Theory one is that I feel like this could be a song about the relationship between an artist and a fan, and from the perspective of the artist, basically how they feel when a fan has died. And part of what makes me think that is the line, leave 18 years of pain behind. As in, a young fan, someone who is 18, has died, and despite being a stranger to this band, because of the love that they probably have for their fans, it affects them just as deeply. Although what calls that idea into doubt for me is the line, you couldn't wait, please wait for me. Because that seems like a much more personal kind of line, which brings me to my second theory, which is that this very much could be about the loss of someone close to him that he loved. And the term stranger in that scenario would be used in a more symbolic kind of way. As in, he knew this person, but feels like he never knew them, in the sense that he never understood the deeper and innermost thoughts and dreams and perspectives of this person. But all he ever saw was what was on the surface. And of course, Avatar fans can let me know in the comments if they know more about the song meaning. But the more that I think about it, I feel like my second interpretation is more likely. And it also seems like it's about the loss of a person who was striving for success, right? Maybe was very ambitious and had a lot of goals and dreams, because it talks about their hunger being their doom. They wanted more and more. Yet at the same time, it says, once you have jumped, there is no way back. And that makes me think of a person who took their own life. Yeah, and again, that's just my, initial interpretation, but if that's the case, then this is something that I've talked about quite a bit very recently. And in light of recent topics that I've dealt with on this channel, we should always remember that popular and successful people who seem happy on the surface, that isn't always what it seems. And it seems like a lot of the time, people who are musicians get hit the hardest with pain and end up not being able to take it anymore. And so this person close to him could have been another musician, someone who became overwhelmed with that whole world of fame and attention. And then if you think about it, the possibility that it's about a person who took their own life, then the term stranger picks up greater meaning, right? Because it makes you think about how people always say, oh, I never really knew what was going on with that person. I never really knew the pain that that person was dealing with. And maybe this is a pessimistic thought, but really everyone we know is a stranger in some way. no matter how well we know them or think we know them. Like, I don't think it's possible to know all of the deepest and innermost thoughts and emotions of anyone like the back of your hand, even if it's someone you're incredibly close with. And that's because so many of us barely even know ourselves. And I just think that a human being is so complex and there's so much going on inside us that it's impossible to always know what the other person is going through. And there's no magical X-ray that shows us the inner turmoil that hides behind a seemingly happy or friendly smile. So, when this song says, "What did you see when your dreams held you awake? What did you say to the ghosts in your head?" Where it says those lines, to me, that's him genuinely asking, what was going on inside of you that I couldn't see or that I couldn't fully understand? Who were you really on a deep emotional and psychological level? And why did you feel so trapped, so caged, as the lyrics say? And that's something that even on a normal day-to-day level gets to me at times, because I like to understand where people are coming from and what makes them do or say certain things. And I find so many people to just be complete enigmas, you know? Like, I always find myself asking the question of, okay, this person is saying this, but are they really thinking along the same lines? How do they really feel beneath the surface? How do they really feel about what they're saying? And sometimes I try and read into people's expressions to see if I can find an answer to that question. But at the end of the day, I can never truly know. I can only guess or hope that they're telling me the truth. And there have been times where someone tells me that something is okay or that they're okay, and I'm just like, are you sure? You know, it's like you seem to be saying that convincingly enough, but do your emotions and thoughts match your words? And I think if we could better gauge that kind of thing, maybe we would have a better chance of stopping someone from making a terrible mistake. But unfortunately, we have to go on what people say and what they do. And if we think that someone needs help, we should always act on that instinct. But the sad truth is that so often someone is smiling on the outside and suffering on the inside. And we have no way to tell unless they let us see inside them, unless they, you know, reveal what's going on within them and talk about it. And I think that the only solution is to encourage people to communicate and to communicate honestly and make them feel reassured that you can be relied upon and trusted. And, you know, that a conversation with you exists in a judgment-free zone. And the other thing we should always keep in mind is never assume that just because someone has fame as a musician or an artist, that they're not going through a great deal of pain in their private lives. And never assume that your voice can't help them just because you're not a famous person, because you're just a fan. Never be afraid to speak up and speak out. And I think that sometimes the love and kind words of the fans is how so many musicians get through hard times and are made to feel like they're worthwhile. And I think that it's easy to forget when you're on the fan side of things that a musician is also a human being and they're going through many of the same things that you might be. So, you know, I think with the online world and with the advent of social media, that wall has been coming down, that arbitrary, invisible divider between fans and artists. Now there's more interplay, there's more intermingling, there's more communication between the two. And I think that helps us, you know, it reminds us of the humanity in these artists. And when you see that, and when you see an artist going through some pain that they're putting into their music or whatever, if that's on display, you know, a word of support and a word of love can be very helpful. So this very well could be about some artist or musician that one or more members of the band knew. Or my original theory could be correct, that it could be about a fan that died, you know, or this could just be telling a story. So, of course, that's where you guys come in. Leave your thoughts and comments below. You know, if you have a version of what you think this song is talking about in your head, let me know what you think and what your perspective is. But yeah, I definitely like this song. I appreciated the approach and the talent. And I think that this doesn't really probably give me the best impression of how the band sounds now. But nevertheless, I think that Rachel had in mind that I probably would like this kind of style a little bit better because she does know me and my music taste. So this is just the beginning. My journey with this band is going to continue. Like I said, I do have another request on the Infinite list. And of course, add your requests onto there. And the best way to do it, Patreon, Tier 4, link down below. But that is it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Nuclear family. Much more content on the way. Much love and respect to the Nuke fam. And I will catch you all on the next one.